about the union of Shukra and Artava, which leads to Garbha. The points related to that, sir.
This is okay.
Sir, you want to?
No. Well, we need to understand that when these textbooks were written, they did not have access to the sophisticated tools that we have access to. For instance, they did not have access to microscope. So they did not know what is sperm. Similarly, the weapons of stone, even overlay, are not there. Very rare, maybe we can interpret. But again, ovulation sort of thing, they did not know. So Shukra and Shonita, this is what they told and they wrote, right? Shukra Artava Sayoge. So Artava, because during pregnancy, amenorrhea results, right? So semen and this menstrual blood, they thought that, okay, the union of these two must be producing Garbha. And for them to imagine that, it was quite logical, because that is the, imagination that could go. That far, that imagination could go. But today, what do we do is we teach that Shukra is sperm and Artava is ovum. This is where we make mistake. Shukra is not sperm or Artava is not ovum. We need to understand that whenever this was written, they did not have access to these details. So in my talk, actually, the talk I have made available on internet, even my Facebook it is there, in my YouTube it is there. I have tried to explain how should we look at those theories in that perspective. See, from today's perspective, we should not look at Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita. We should look at that context from their perspective. Then only you will understand, and you will understand the limitations also. So this is my understanding.
So the question was specific on that Shukra and
union of Shukra and Artava as Garbha.
Okay, that's nice. See, again, I think it is a continuation of what we were discussing in the morning. See, what Dr. Kishore is trying to say, if I understood it right, is that the union of semen and menstrual blood will not result in the formation of embryo. That looks quite logical, fine. But I'm not an expert in that branch of knowledge. But interestingly, there are some other propositions as per Ayurveda. I'm just wondering whether that can be explained in terms of modern physiology. It is Artavam Agneyam and Shuklam Saumyam. So this is a basic understanding about masculinity and femininity in Ayurveda. So whether that can be explained in terms of modern physiology? I don't think so. That may not be able to explain as such. So certain propositions, what we find later, are continuation of certain basic things which we find from the very beginning in the formative stage itself. There are many things. You see, whether the question is, see, people are interpreting it in a number of ways. And Dr. Kishore himself told that, okay, I was trying to explain it with the modern anatomy and modern physiology, but later I understood that I was committing big mistakes. So I revoked my textbook itself, if I understood right. Am I right? Yeah. So it is good that when you commit a mistake, you confess, because you are not going to do the same mistake again and again. But that doesn't mean that everybody should confess. There may be many people who might have understood it right, so they need not confess. Yeah, they should be explained. Yeah, exactly. They should be able to explain it. The problem is that, as I repeatedly mentioning in the morning session, you are not supposed to explain this male and female characteristics of human being as explained in Ayurveda with the help of modern physiology. We repeatedly say that egam shastram adhiyano na vidyat shastra nischayam tasmad bahushruta shastraha vijaniyat chikitsakam. Which are these bahushruta shastratvam and which are these other shastras? Do you think that it is Gray's Anatomy or Chaurasya's Physiology? In the given, you are not supposed to drag the acharyas to your place and start interpreting them. If you have to understand what they have mentioned, you have to go to their atmosphere, their ambience, their premise. Then I think what they suggest as this Anya Shastram is multiple. There may be concepts which they have taken from other similar texts or philosophies where this Agni Shomiyata is a prime concept. So this concept of Artavam Agneyam and Shuklam Saumyam revolves around a larger perspective of Agni Shomiyata. So in that aspect, Shuklam completely represents the Saumya Bhavas. And that Artavam exclusively represents the Agni Bhava. So when you say that this Shukla Artava Samyogad Garbham, it is mentioning about the Agni Shomiyata of the Garbham. It is not just the mechanical action of coitus. So we should start interpreting it with this background information. Otherwise, we will feel this as a total mockery. What is this? Semen and menstrual fluid is going to make embryo? Nonsense. Should we teach this to the 21st age student? That is what my friend Kishorji is asking. But it is out of the context of the explanation. In Charaka Samhita, how the text is to be approached is very well explained. What is that? Atascha pragradam buddhva deshakalandaranicha grandhakartur abhiprayan upayamscharthamadished. So you have certain strategy in interpreting the text and extracting meaning out of it. Atascha pragradam buddhva. Pragradam buddhva, you should understand the context first. Desha kalandaranicha. What is explained in one desha need not be applicable in another desha. Same is the kala also. Grandhakartur abhiprayan. What the author is trying to, you are not supposed to put your words in his mouth. Grandhakartur abhiprayan upayancha. What upaya they have used in explaining this thing textually. That also should be understood. So when you say Shukra, that represents known as Agni Shomiyata is what is the conceived idea there. It is not just about mixing semen and menstrual fluid in a test tube and looking for an embryo. It's an entirely different question. And unfortunately, people also interpret it in many ways. As I told, we should sit together and we should start redefining these things. There is a big question. I have an Ayurveda, he has an Ayurveda, but we don't have an Ayurveda. Everybody is speaking about his Ayurveda. We have to come to certain consensus. Regarding, this is not a personal remark. Regarding Dr. Kishor, I was just wondering how is he teaching Kriya Shariram? Every day I wonder he will be coming out of the classroom with a lot of guilty consciousness. When I met him three years back, he was a bit fatty. Now he is quite lean. He's losing his weight out of this after this confession, I think. No, no, take it serious. He has something else to add.
Regarding the question of Shukra and Artav, and I think you mentioned about Klom also, no? Starting. So I want to give, I am totally agree with Dr. Prasad sir. I want to give some. There was a seminar organized by RAV at Goa in 2012, and the seminar was on Shukravaha and Artavaha Srotas. And my guru, Dr. Premvati Tiwari ji, was the chair of that seminar. And all the discussion went, question answers happened there. They are documented and published by RAV. You can get it by RAV online also. Shukravaha and Artavaha Srotas, that seminar on. So all your questions will be, we will get your answers in that book. It is in Hindi, but you will get it. Next, in Dr. Premvati Tiwari's book on Strirog Vidyan, there are 2 volumes, both in English also and Hindi also. So the difference between Raja, Artav and Shonita, she has described it with the help of various references. And about Shukra, also she has mentioned that what is Shukra? Shukra is not merely a semen. If you go through the Kosha meaning or the Sanskrit meaning of the Shukra, it is a Paurusham. First is a Paurusham, means Parakram. Shukra is also defined for the Parakrama also. Next, Bijam means Purusha Bijam. Then it is called Viryam. Viryam is Bala, Shakti. A person having a Shakti to perform anything, not only coitus, to perform any work. It is called as a Virya or Shukta, Shakti or Shukra. So there are so many different meanings of one word Shukra. Like Rasa, we have so many meanings of one word Rasa. Rasa means Adhatu, Rasa means taste, Rasa means Parad, Rasa means Mausras, Rasa means Swaras, Rasa means Ahar Rasa. So the Adhikarana of that chapter, accordingly we have to derive the meaning. Now, so there are so many different meanings of Shukra and Artha also. And there is difference in Shonita, Raja and Artha. It is described detailed in Premvati Tiwari's book. Now, I will give one reference. Madam, please, can you start the E-Charaka? We don't have Charak, so we have E-Charak. E-Charak, Sharir Sthanam, chapter 4, Sutra 7. Chapter 4, Mahagarbhava Kranti Adhyay. And 7, niche, 6 by 7, yes. No, previous Sutra. 6, 7, there, yes. So here, in Sutra, it is described that how Shukra and Artha create a Garbha. This is the reference of Charak. And this is exactly describing Taittiriya Upanishad also. Same word to word, only in Padya. And here one interesting reference, not related to this question. Here they have described that this reference. Sharira Paraha Sharira Dhatvatma Shukra Bhutaha. In chapter number 2, Charak Samhita, Agnivesh has asked a question, Katham Deham Upaiti Dehat. one soul, how it transfer from one body to another body. So it's very interesting question. It is asked in Charak Samhita. So Atreji answer that Atma never travels because it is everywhere. Atma Tattva is Vibhu, it is everywhere. So who travel from one body to another body? They said Bhutaihi Chaturbhihi Susukshmaihi Manojavaihi Deham Upaiti Dehat. For if I died here, so in my body the four Mahabhutas, because Akash is also Vibhu, that four Mahabhutas and the coding system in 8 Ghataks, it is called as Linga Deha, it will transfer from one body to another body through the Manas. And how it is, we can, unko kaise pata chala, that also it is described there in chapter number 2. Here they are saying that Sharira Dhatvatma Shukra Bhutaha, that soul which is taking birth after that coitus, it is traveling through the Shukra, semen. Here Shukra means semen. Anyone, female or male, anyone. Now, if you read autobiography of Sri Ravi Shankar ji, it is not actually autobiography, his own wrote a book on himself. He had written how he take birth, and it is totally word to word matched with this sutra. Just go through his book, autobiography of Ravi Shankar ji. Same, just only in English, that's it. So there are references, so we have to move. I just, because I am agree with sir, but I just gave references.
So, yes, the audience is best judge. You know, we have all put forth our views. You are the best judges to judge what is to be taken and what is to be not. But I would like to again say that if all these interpretations are to be understood, then it means that again the sperm and ovum was not known, right? This is what we teach in the UG classes. Shukra and Artava is often written in many of the textbooks as sperm and ovum, and this is against which I am contesting. This is the thing I am contesting about. And as both of them clearly said, there are too many meanings to a single word. Artava, Shonita, both of them have been used. Shukra Artava Sthau Janmado. Similarly, Shukra Shonita Sayogaya Bhave Dosha Mutkata. So Shukra Shonita, Shukra Artava, both of them have been used synonymously in different contexts. So this only indicates that there was still a lack of clarity. Saumya, Agneya, Amsha, or whatever interpretation that sir is drawing, Saumya Agneya is a very common logic which was there in even Rig Veda, Veda. From Vedas, Saumya and Agni, Soma and Agni Tattva. Because of this only the Tridosha theory evolved. Because of Agni Soma Tattva. And then there was a need of Tridosha theory to be evolved. So anyways, even if that is considered, that doesn't explain physiology of embryo formation. So we need to, my point is very clear, right? Irrespective of all those explanations, this Artava and Shukra do not explain the physiology of embryogenesis. This is what I wanted to say.
Namaste again. I think the Ayurvedic perspective of embryology, it's a very, very rich subject which is mentioned in our Ayurvedic Samhitas, right? It is not only limited up to Shukra Shonit Sanyog Garb, it's known as Garb. I think there is a vast description of many other factors which we Ayurveda scholars usually do not discuss about. So I mentioned in the morning session as well about concept of 6 procreative factors. When the contemporary scientists, they are talking about the impact of maternal nutrition, paternal psychological aspects. So then we are appreciating that thing. But this is very well explained There is a concept of epigenetic programming. The students, you need to understand the concept of genotype and the concept of phenotype. There is an impact of intrauterine environment. So this is something which is really, it's a vast description, which is that Abhijeet sir is giving references. So we need to understand all these references, the description, you know, in the contemporary way, so that we can project the concept scientifically. So this is my submission.
Namaste. So my background is in biomedical science and then in modern medicine, and then I came to Ayurveda. And one of the things that I find that my fellow students, when I was doing my PhD in Ayurveda, they think that the translation that was done, whether it's a translation into Hindi or into English or Marathi or whichever language that they're reading their book, they think that that's an accurate translation. And several people have alluded to that today. The example that came to me when I first thought about the translation being inaccurate is Krimi. Because as you all know, Krimi in most books refers to parasites, right? That's how we think about it. And in Madhav Nidan, there's an entire chapter on Krimi. But in about 2005, the whole idea of the microbiome came. Bork et al. Talked about the enterotypes in the gut and how there's bacteria. So that requires some history to understand. Prior to that time, prior to actually in the 1990s, prior to that, they believed that the cleaner that the gut could be, the better. So all of the science in the modern world and in the mainstream was that the more antibiotics you take and the cleaner that your gut is, the better. So they would put people on long courses of antibiotics. Then they discovered the microbiome and they realized that, oh, this should be reconsidered. And in modern medicine, they have now reconsidered. But even now, there are people, because Ayurveda doesn't require CMEs until recently, they would think that Krimi means parasites. But when I read it, because I came to Ayurveda after the 1990s, I found that it made sense to me. And in modern terms, there are those symbiotic and commensal as well as parasitic bacteria that are in the human body. So when I was thinking about it, I thought, why did they translate Krimi to parasite? It's because at that time, the person that's the translator, let's say in English for my books, that's all they knew. So whenever you read a book, until you go to the actual way. So as you all know, I learned through Guru Shishya Parampara. And the way that we would learn is very tough. You take the shloka. I didn't know that much Sanskrit to know each vocabulary word. You go to the dictionary, you read that word. And word by word. In a one shloka, there may be 20 different, you could say dhatus or words. And you look up each one. And you then figure out what the meaning is and all the contexts. And if you just do that with one shloka, that's what Dhyaya every day is about 2-3 hours long. And in the beginning, it was such a long thing for me to understand. But then I would read the English translation, it was completely off. So coming back to this idea of Shukra, I was thinking of the word clean, right? Many of you know that it comes from a dhatu that is for the word clean. So you have so many different contexts of the word Shukra. And Shonita, you can think of as unclean. And when we talk about the translation of it as semen and as menstrual blood, that's only one of the contexts. So we know that when people don't know, as you said earlier, someone should explain it to you if they know better. And the thing that has occurred to me regularly is that when people don't understand and they say this is wrong, it reflects that they don't belong to Guru Shishya Parampara. When people learn in a classroom and they don't learn from a guru, they don't get that place to ask that question. And when you can ask that question, your understanding comes from a very different level. So you can ask those questions because the guru understands why you are not connecting to that. So as someone from modern medicine who's been learning for the last 20 years, I know that there are a lot of bad translations. I have yet to find a good translation of Ashtanga Hridayam or even Charak Samhita. And I usually, when I sit, I put 3 or 4 translations in front of me and read the English for each one. And now I'm better at reading the Sanskrit. So for any of you who are unclear, I just offer that. And I hope that that's useful to this conversation.
I do not know whether I should talk again about the same subject, but there are a couple of things I think which is important. Otherwise, we will be misinformed. See, embryo, formation of embryo, as it is explained in the modern physiology textbook, is not explained in Charaka Samhita or Sushruta Samhita, which is quite obvious. There is no wonder in it. And because I think many people are working behind it, many new ideas are coming. Even I think, say maybe some 50 years back, if you take a physiology text and what is explained in about embryogenesis may not be the same as what we find today in the physiology textbooks. So it is changing. I think at one point they may come to a one point, okay, now the discussion is over about this or not. But anyway, I think with a different language and with a different methodology, this male, it is not about sperm and egg, but the male and female bija is explained. And how they fuse and how they is that is getting into the garbhashaya, all these things are explained. But see, at one point we are saying, Vadadi kunabhagrandhi puyakshina malahvayam bija samartham retosram. So there, retas and asram, what is the problem with them? Bija samartham. So retas fails in generating the corresponding bijam. Asram fails in generating the corresponding bijam. So that is what they are saying as that, what is it? Sperm and egg. Okay, fine. You can't expect the way in which this modern physiology is explained in the Ashtanga Hridayam of a different period. Said this, I never mean that what is known about the Garbhadanam or whatever these things are enough and it is done once and it is done forever. I think we are using many new techniques to understand things in a finer plane. We can find it, explore it further to give precision. Say when we are dealing with the Kunapa Adi Shukla Dosha Chikitsa or Artava Dosha Chikitsa, we may find some sort of a general approach. So getting or taking more precise ideas about the procedures, what is happening, you may be able to come with a more precise intervention in specific issues. And nobody is denying it. My point is that before going to these fancy literature and everything, which is far away from what you are supposed to learn as the basic, first you learn the basic and develop a firm footing on it. Even I won't say that this is the last word. Only request or suggestion, I won't even say advice, only suggestion is that don't be judgmental before you understand the things properly. There is place for being judgmental, but before that, make your footing proper. Now I have understood this everything. Now we will engage in a discussion. I find that there are many things can be made better. Actually, there is no absolute truth. We are all trying to reach as near as possible to the absolute truth. Satya Anveshanam. So let us try whether we can come a little bit closer. whether we can move a little bit closer to that ultimate reality about one prakaranam or the ultimate prakaranam or whatever it is. So we are all anveshakas. So Charaka Samhita is one tool for doing that anveshanam about what is happening at the. There are many mysterious things may be happening, still unraveled. So I think we have to keep some open mind, unprejudiced mind, and we have to keep our inquisitiveness. For that, while you are learning a topic called X, keep all your prejudices away. Dedicate yourself. That is why one word, Ayurvedam Ubasmahe. Dedicate yourself and understand it first. Then be judgmental. Criticize it. Modify it. That is what we are seeing in Charaka Samhita. There are many debates happening in it. And many new conclusions are drawn. Even at point, certain blank statements we find, we do not know whether it is a conclusion or a point for further debate. Many famous lines like that Swabhavo Varamas Sada, whether it is a Acharya Sutram or a Shishya Sutram, whether it can be a Purva Paksham, whether it is a Pradijna, we can discuss. First of all, let us try to understand what he is trying to communicate. So that openness, I think at least Ayurveda deserves it. An open approach. Then I think things will be becoming more clear, and then I think the efforts to renew it also will be more simple and straightforward, and it will be more pragmatic. And we will sit together. We are all here. We will sit together, discuss this again and again. I think if Malaji is taking an initiative, every 6 months we will conduct conversations. And at least by 2050, let us make some conclusions about at least Garbha Vakranti. So first part is to learn it, churn it, and let us see what is coming as the butter. Whether it is original butter or Chinese butter, we will decide later. But don't make yourself away, keep yourself away, escape from the act of churning. Or don't try to churn it with a device which is not meant for it. That's all.
I also insist the students to please participate. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and we'll get the mic there. Let's make it more interactive, not just the conversation among the panelists only. If you have any question, please come forward and ask your questions. Yes, so your participation is more important because this is happening for you also. So just don't treat it like a classroom session going on. You can just be open and ask whatever question you have in your mind. Don't think that you are being foolish or anyone is going to judge you. Please open up and answer and ask your questions.
Hello, madam, please. Same chapter, 30 number shlok. I will just share a reference till how in depth our Granthakaras have discussed these things and they are describing these things. I will share just one example. And this is a take-home message that we have to think on that sutra according to different organs. I will share one sutra. No, madam. 30. Same chapter. Now this is the unique sutra. And I will try to elaborate in short manner. They said, Yada striyaha dosha prakopanani uktani asevamanayaha doshaha prakupitaha. Means a woman who is in fertile age, she is having of dosha prakop, and because of that hetu sevana, doshas in her bodies are vitiated. Then Shariram upasarpanta, if that vitiated doshas are roaming around her body, because dosha sarva sharira chara, they never stuck at one place. They're always in rotating motion. Shonita garbhashaya upapadyante, when that vitiated dosha will come and lodge in shonit and garbhashaya. Means artava srotas. Artava srotas is vitiated, having vitiated doshas. At that time, if she conceived, what happened in nowadays for marriage ceremony, before marriage ceremony, so many types of ahar and vihar is going on. Not according to Ayurveda. In marriage also, Guru Santarpan, Amapradoshajanya ahar is there. And after marriage, without any shodhana chikitsa or having any proper diet, they went to honeymoon and get conceived. Okay, so at that time, when her shonit and garbhashaya is having vitiated dosha, at that time, if she conceived, then nacha karsnena shonita garbhashayo dushayanti, means whole shonit and garbhashaya is dushta. Tad ayam garbham labate stri, if she conceived at that time, tada tasya garbhasya matrujanam avayavanam anyatamo avayavo vikrutim, means there are some organs, just Pooja madam has explained that there are some maternal bhava also, matrush bhava. So the shonit and garbhashaya is dushta, so one or more her matrush avayava, means rudhay, vrukka, basti, antra, any soft organ which is matrush bhav, they get vitiated and they are dushta from the birth, means congenital anomaly will be there. Okay. Why congenital anomaly happen? Because the mother has vitiated dosha while conceiving. Okay. Now, next, this is the first stage. Next, yasya yasya avayavasya bije bije bhago va dosha prakopam apadyate, tam dosha prakopam apadyate, underline, we always forget that. Next, second stage, yada hi asyaha shonite garbhashaya bija bhaga. Up now, they are talking about the garbhashaya, means that woman has a female fetus. She is having a girl. And the bija bhag of her shonita, which is creating garbhashaya in her daughter, which is still in her garbha. If that is dushta, then tada vandhyam janayati, means second generation, she is the first generation. Now her daughter will be vandhya, means she will not conceive any time in her life. Vandhya putri will be there. Okay. Next, yada punaha asyaha shonite garbhashe bija bhaga avayavaha pradosham apadate. If that woman, means mata, first generation, having her garbhashe bija bhag, but it is partially vitiated, not proper, totally vitiated, then tada puti prajam janayati, means third generation will be vandhya. Her nati will be, or granddaughter will be vandhya. Okay. Next, yada tu asya shonite garbhashe bija bhaga avayavaha stri karanam cha bhavanam. Now, in her whole shonit, some part is garbhashay nirman karne wala bhav hai. In that garbhashay kar bhav, some part is stri kar bhav, abhivyakti of stri kar bhav, means she is having daughter, but there are some part, just say, sir says that bhavas are there, no? Purusha bhav and stri bhav. That stri kar bhav, means lajja adi vagare, that get impaired, that get vitiated, then stri akruti, but astriya, means she will have daughter, but she will not behave like a female. It is called as a varata. It is type of shanda. Nowadays we call it as lesbian. Varata. Okay, so 3 generation tak ka varnan kiya hai. They describe now they are describing about it garbhashay, replace it with heart, replace it with vrukka, replace it with antra, you will get various congenital anomalies of different organs till third generation. We have to elaborate this sutra. Charak has given us task. In next sutra, same thing is described according to Purush Bij. Same, next sutra, same thing according to Purush Bij. So who will study this? European people? Who will work on this? कोई मंगल से आएगा? हमें करना होगा. This is genetics, nothing else. So, and here the main factor is dosh of that mata and pita. That's why before having conception, that mata and pita should have gone through shodhana chikitsa and some specific diet pattern to avoid these congenital conditions. In hemophilia also, female is a carrier and male is always a patient. Why? Answer is here, according to Ayurveda. Thank you very much.
So I need to comment on this. I'll start from your last point, that is hemophilia, because because of maternal factor you have mentioned, right? Because Raktaj bhav is due to, that is originated from Matraj. It's a Matraj bhav. We have written one paper that is available on ResearchGate on leukemia only, maternal, vulnerability aspect of maternal factor on leukemia. This is what we are stressing since morning, that yes, most of us, we are stressing that whatever it is written in our classical text, that is very much scientific. Whether Abhijeet sir has explained everything in a classical manner, and if I project this verse which Abhijeet ji has mentioned scientifically, he has mentioned this is something which is congenital. There is something beyond congenital and mutation that is nowadays, that is transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. Yeah, Atmaj bhav, or it is something which is in going to next generation, that is transgenerational epigenetic inheritance, right? So whatever you have explained, the vitiation of doshas, that can be explained scientifically, that this is a impact of intrauterine environment due to many factors, due to faulty diet or lifestyle, psychological factors, or the habitat, whatever it is, right? Leading to phenotypic changes, because once genotype is there, we can't change that genes, right? But there is a possibility of exchange in expression of that genes because of this intrauterine environmental changes, that is known as phenotypic expressional changes, and that is causing FOAD, that is fetal origin of adult diseases. Means there is an n number of adult diseases which are originated during the fetal life, and this is what is very well explained in this shlok only, that is the impact of all the intrauterine life, that is actually not leading only up to that generation, but leading to next generation, that is the transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. So please go through this concept. I have tried to compile this concept in my book, that is Epigenetics in Ayurveda, which is available on Amazon also, and many papers I have written on epigenetics, which are along with my team of postgraduates who are doing a lot of work in this track. So you can get the all published papers on this particular subject. So very well explained. I'm really very much thankful to you for explaining this shlok, and I'll definitely going to invite you in my institute. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I do not deny, I never denied that there are very important observations that have been recorded in Ayurvedic textbooks. This is one of them, right? Congenital abnormalities, their transmission from one generation to another. All this is observable thing. Observations in Ayurveda are definitely of value. But the theory behind it, the dosha, dominance and other things, that is wrong. This is what I am trying to say. You try to understand. Observations, theories and speculations. We need to understand there are three things in Ayurveda. Tridosha, for example, a theory, right? This maybe conversion of rasa into rakta, rakta into mamsa. This is speculation. Or maybe the vata taking pitta from one place to another and then going somewhere. All this is speculative. So speculative aspects are there which are not of value. Theories are of some value. Observations are of much value. We need to focus on observations. Epigenetics and genetics, they did not know. Let us be very clear. But they knew the effects of genetics and epigenetic abnormalities. That they knew. But they did not know about gene. It is wrong to say that they knew genes and epigenetics. This is a new science that is emerging. And see, this is where, what is pseudoscience and science? Pseudoscience is when someone argues that whatever new advanced knowledge is emerging, all that is there in Ayurveda. Then you are making Ayurveda pseudoscience. Right? This new, what is that? The microbes, gut microbiome. Already it is there in Ayurveda. No, you are making Ayurveda pseudoscience. Please understand. Somebody said last time, this Ganesh head, the elephant head, and they knew this surgery. So all these kind of statements, they make Ayurveda pseudoscience, and we have made Ayurveda pseudoscience. Ayurveda is not pseudoscience inherently. Inherently, Ayurveda is definitely science, but it is proto-science. There is proto-science or pre-science. See, Ptolemy's theories of geocentric universe. Have you heard of geocentric theory? And then it was replaced by heliocentric theory. When we came to know that no, the sun doesn't revolve around Earth, but Earth revolves around sun. Then the theory was modified based on the observations, new observations. You always modify theories. Right? Similarly, there are several theories in Ayurveda which have been already disproven, and we need to discard them. This is as simple as that. This is commonsensical, straight thinking. As you start interpreting this, that, you do so much of gymnastics, you can prove anything. It is for your intellectual, maybe good for your brain, for your intellectual exercises, but it doesn't serve any purpose. You are making even greater fool of yourselves. I don't have to say anything more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And it was a valid view. And the next question for the satsang now is relevance of history of Ayurveda, sir. Relevance of studying history of Ayurveda and how to study the history. Like the present student era, they don't feel the importance of history of Ayurveda. So how to elucidate that, sir?
History of any subject is very important. Any subject. History of any subject is very important. How Ayurveda theories were constructed, what was the basis of that, to which text you can trace it, right? For example, Tridosha, Soma Surya Nilayatha. So how can you, commonsensically prove it? See, commonsensically proving it and saying it that it is super sophisticated theory. There is difference. Right? All the theories of Ayurveda are commonsensical. They are common sense based and they are very, very, understandable. But how it was developed, through what evolution, stages of evolution Ayurveda went through, all this we need to understand. And there are so many good books written by many good authors. P.V. Sharmaji's Vaijnanik Itihasa is one of them. Then Muhlenbell has written 5 volumes of very, very scholarly literature on history of Indian medical literature, 5 volumes. And then there are several historians like Professor Vujastik is there, and there are several of them. There are so many good articles and good papers that have come up. I think we need to introduce these scholarly papers to our students instead of teaching whatever is written in textbooks. Similarly, Brahma Smritva Ayusho Vedam. This is taught as a part of history. Brahma Smritva Ayusho Vedam is mythology. We need to distinguish between mythology and history. Then our students will always be confused. Even in one of the recent interviews, one of the experts asked my student, you have written that it is 2000-year-old or 3000-year-old, but it is, you don't know that it is Brahma who created Ayurveda. No, Brahma Smritva Ayurvedam, all that is mythology. Mythology is not history. We should have clarity in these understandings. History is very important. Definitely it has to be there, but it has to be taught more meaningfully and more interesting way.
Sir?
Have anything on? No. Okay. See, I have nothing to add about history, because I think history is an essential part of any learning, and it should be taught and it should be learned properly. But I think I have something to add with the previous point. Because you see, the usages of science and the pseudoscience or proto-science, all these things, I think there is a chronology of things happened in the history. It is not that very innocent words as Dr. Kishor might have thought. It has got political notions, it has got sociological notions, because when you are make some sort of a blanket statement about a system which is logically used for the last 3000 years and still in place, and comparing it with a system which is there in place for maybe last 500 years, based on something which is done for maybe for the last 50 to 70 years, and claim that yours is a pseudoscience, we feel emotionally upset and hurt. Nothing to be hurt in it. You can say that yes, Ayurveda is a pseudoscience. What is wrong in it? Because all these things are some economical, market-based and sociologically biased statements. There is one book, I think many books, but one book is Decolonizing the Mind. So I think we have to start from that. Decolonize your mind and accept knowledge as knowledge, wisdom as wisdom, information and information, and always keep your inquisitiveness ignited. That is, don't bother about these jargons like it is a true science, it is absolute science, this is pseudo-science, it's a proto-science. Previously, I was talking with Dr. Shashikumar, and he is saying, see, this needs constant improvisation, so you need not put it as even a science, it is an art. Okay, fine. No problem. Things should work at the end of the day, and it should not, see, at one point, Charaga claims, who is an apta? Isn't it? Shastra, agamaha, tavad vedaha. Then at one point, lokopahitartham. So that is a condition. So anything which is meant for that purpose, I think let them call a pseudoscience, no problem. Don't be scared of it. Keep your that colonized mind a little bit away. Accept it. So what is wrong in it? They will not come and work on it. They will blame on us. Who is that they? You work hard on your subject and keep on working it and keep on proving it in your methodology. Let others come and see what you are doing, what trick you are playing. Is it a magic or black magic even? So don't mind about these terms. And another request that I would like to suggest with Dr. Kishor is to avoid this outright statements like truth and wrong with a very short information. See, he's just saying Tridosha Siddhanta is wrong. I think that usage itself is not very fair. Because I think, you see, Tridosha Siddhanta is wrong to my understanding. Okay, that's a better usage. Because I think, as I told earlier, there is no question of absolute wrongs or absolute truths. And these are all conditional and relative. In a given, you see, world is, the globe, the earth is round. That is true. But this building is constructed with the proposition that earth is flat. This plan was designed with a proposition that earth is flat. Because we are taking only a relative piece of it and assume that, okay, this is flat. How can you construct a building on a round surface? So for our purpose, we are taking only a piece which is flat. So there is no absolute notions of truth or wrong or false. I think you should be humble enough or simple enough to say use that according to my understanding, Tridosha Siddhanta is not correct.
Of course. I'm in my video, I think I have explained all these details. Tridoshi theory is weak theory. This is what I said. It is, that is what I have said. I have never said wrong. If I have used it, I mean, I take back that word. It is not wrong, but it is, yeah.
I think we have to be modest in
yeah, absolutely. But yes, once again, regarding methods, sir keeps on saying that methods that were used in Ayurveda, that needs to be followed. Coming to the methods, Yukti, Anumana, Pratyaksha, right? And Aptopadesha. So Aptopadesha is an authoritative statement, and that is, that there could be so much of debate on whether what has to be taken as authoritative, what is to be taken as apta, and so on. But these three are actually scientific methods. But these are again based on certain basic understanding of scientific method. Scientific method was not so advanced. Like they did not have the controlled experimentation method. And whenever something has to be, causation, it is a too long thing to discuss, but in my lecture I have discussed it. There are three types of questions, research questions: descriptive, associational, and causal, right? So in descriptive question and associational question, the observations are sufficient. But to answer a causal question, this causes this or this leads to this, you need experimentation. And experimentation in Ayurveda was very primitive because there were no control. There were no control groups, right? So without control group, having an experimentation and then deducting a causal inference is problematic. And that is why in my lecture I have explained several times with giving several examples that there could be confusion regarding between association and causation. Several times causation must have been taken as association. Association must have been taken as causation. And that is why several wrong assertions must have been made. And this is commonsensical. When I say wrong assertions, there are wrong assertions in the textbooks. We should accept it. There are wrong assertions. And we can understand why such assertions were made. Because the scientific method was not advanced.
Sir, back to history of Ayurveda. Over to Abhijeet sir. History of Ayurveda, sir.
History of Ayurveda, I want to share some things. When I was started my academic career in 2010, and I'm a lecturer in Sanhita department, and I was used to teach all the subjects from my PG. And Ayurveda Itihas is one of my favorite subjects. At that time, it was a paper of 100 marks. Now it is reduced to 25 marks in the Sanskrit subject. But once teaching, a student from first year asked me, I bet that everyone sitting in this hall, at some time of your studying your education, you have just thought about it, but we will never answer anyone. She asked me, sir, we are going through Ayurveda Itihas, but there are only males, acharyas. What about females? Isn't in any there a female Ayurvedic Vaidya at that time? It's a very interesting question. At that time, I was not have any answer. So I asked her, give me 3 months. I will answer you. And I start reading different granthas like Brahma Vaivarta Puran, Abhijnana Shakuntalam. I go through extensive search and I found that there are more than 80 females who were Ayurvedic Tadnyas at that time. And I published an article in Marathi, like a collective article. First name is a Parvati. Parvati was the first physician, and references, it's not just a mythology. References in Kashyap Samhita, Lashun Adhyay, Rason Adhyay, Kalpasthan. Parvati, references of treatment doing by Parvati is there. And Rason Adhyay's some sutras are written by Parvati. There was a grantha on Rasa Shastra which was written by Parvati, but we have lost it. Next, first female plastic surgeon was a Pratitheyi. She was wife of Acharya Dadichi. And she is the plastic surgeon. Dadichi Rishi has taught her the plastic surgery, which is called as a Madhuvidya at that time. And she used to perform that plastic surgeries. We have at some part of India that ritual is there after the birth of a baby. At the 6th day, we have a puja of matrukas. What are these matrukas? References in Brahma Vaivarta Puran. There are 7 matrukas. They all were pediatric physician at that time. And they have so much impact on the society. Still, we are praying them as a avoid any bad things for the babies. So there were so many. Shakuntala, Abhidnan Shakuntal, there is a reference of Shakuntala who had treated a mruga. She treated its wound. So we have to collect these references. And since 2020, in 2020 January, I had a major accident. I had fracture of tibia and patella. I just survived in that accident. And I was bedridden for 3 months. No OPD, no college, nothing. So, शांत बैठना तो मेरा possible नहीं था. So there was in my mind to about how we have to search historical places which are related to Ayurveda. And I was searching through Google Map, through some books, and in that 3 months, and whichever I was visited previously, I have collected more than 800 places all over India which are related to Ayurvedic, any persons or any situations. Means, Chavan Rishi was an old Acharya. He got married to Sukanya, and he was trying to do Kuti Praveshak Rasayan, but it was getting failed at that time. So he had a tapasharya. Tapas means he had some kind of procedures, and Ashwini Kumara was there, and Ashwini Kumar prepared a kalpa called as a Chavan Prash. It is named after this procedure. Where it is prepared, where this historical event happened, it is described in Puranas and our ancient some text. And that place is in Haryana, district Jind. The village name is Asana. It is Apabhramsha of Ashwini. Still there is a temple of Ashwini Kumar. Still there is a Rupavati Kunda and a statue of Chavan Rishi. I just recently visited that place. Then Charak Ashram is in Kotadwara, nearby Kotadwara in Uttarakhand. Since 4 years, I am visiting that place in June first week. You can join with me. Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad was organizing that program, and we have Nirupana of Charak Samhita at Charak Ashram at 6,000 feet height. It's a very beautiful place. And because of our Modijis, they write letter to Modiji, and because of his work, they had the Utkhanan. What is called as Utkhanan? Bhumi Utkhanan ko kya kahenge? Not plugging, actually, that process. So they worked there and they found 5,000 old khal, preparation of excavation. That is still there. You can visit at any time, but the good period is April to June. Now, Kashiraj Devodas, Guru of Sushruta, he was a king of Kashi, and Sushrut was his disciple. So still had any places in Kashi about him? Yes, there are 5 places in Kashi. Ramnagar Killa, where still the king of Kashi is residing. There, temple of Dhanvantari is there. No one knows about it. Temple of Dhanvantari and temple of Vyasa in that bank of Ganga. Then on the way of Kashi Vishwanath Gali, there is a temple of Dhundi Ganesh. Ganpati's temple name is Dhundi Ganesh. It is established by Kashiraj Divodas, our Kashiraj Divodas, Dhanvantari. Then I write a book on Ayurvedic on my this collection. It is published by Chaukhamba with photos, and the book name is Ayurved ke Aitisik Sthal Evam Vyaktitva. You can get it on Amazon also. In that book, travel to Princess of Kashi. Her name is Krishna Kumari, and she is now 90 years old. And she invited me for a discussion. One of my student, Akash Upadhyay, I was not able to go because of my condition of that time. I was operated again. So one of my student, Akash Upadhyay, who was a student in Kashi, he went to meet her. She said, there is a excavation done because of again Modi ji, because Modi ji is a MLA of Kashi. He is a Khasdar of Kashi. So he done excavation near Adi Keshav Ghat, which is the longest ghat in the Kashi, and there he found so much things which are minimum 5,000 to 6,000 years old. And in their tradition of the king of Kashi, they said that our ancient palace was in Adi Keshav Ghat, and there Sushruta and Kashiraj Divodas Chikitsalaya and Shava Vichchadan Kaksha was there. She has that references. And if you visit Kashi Vishwanath corridor right now, it is newly constructed. Just entering in the corridor, at left side, there are so many sutras described on the walls. In the first wall, there is sutra of Skanda Puran. You will get reference of ancient palace of Kashiraj Divodas, which is in Adi Keshav Ghat, from Skanda Puran. So history is not any mythological, it is still there. I had stayed in Chakrapani's village, Mayureshwar, for 3 days in last December. And still they have all the things of Chakrapani Dattas there. No one visit there. The Acharya Jejjat, who is the commentator of all the his village is in her village name is Jejjo, and it is nearby Hoshiarpur in Punjab. I just visited that. And now that place which is he was used to stay is converted into a mosque, converted into a mosque, and it is called a Jejjo Sahab. But his Chikitsalaya, his another home is there, and his current generation, Dr. Vatsayan is there, who is working in the Punjab. Yeah, he is in generation of. I am the next in generation of Hemadri. My ancestor, in my ancestors, Hemadri is my ancestor from my paternal mother side. So they are still there. We have to just search. In Andhra Pradesh, there is Atreyapuram. You know about it? Atreyapuram? Had you visited any time? Atreyapuram. Why it is named as Atreyapuram? Is it any relevance with our Atreji? There is a temple of Atreya in Nanded district of Maharashtra. How many people knows about it? There are more than 15 temples of Daksha Prajapati in India. In Draksharambam, Andhra Pradesh. In Yavatmal district, Maharashtra. In Surat city. Then in Kankhal, Haridwar, Daksha Ashram is there. Who will visit them? Who will work on them? So history is not just a mythology. And if you go through my YouTube channel, you will find a lecture on Ayurveda Avatar. This is not the time to explain everything. This is not mythology. I'm sorry. No. There are so many if you go through the Priya Sharmaji's book, in any work on history, there are two kinds of references. One is internal references, second are external references. Internal references means in that science it is described, and external references means you have to search from another sciences. So in Charak Samhita, it is described that the first disease happened in the Kruta Yuga and Treta Yuga Sandhikal. Now we are in Kali Yuga. If you follow, if you deny everything, then God will be with you. God bless you. But if you trust little bit on our Samhitas or our ancient science, we are in Kruta Yuga. So Kruta Yuga is of 4 lakhs. Before Kruta Yuga, not Kruta Yuga, Kali Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga have 4 lakh years. Still we are in only 5,000 years are passed. Then before that Dwapar Yuga, it is 8 lakh years. And before that Treta Yuga, which is 16 lakhs years. And first disease happened in this world. It is described in Charak Samhita chapter 1 and Charak Samhita Charak Viman chapter 3 Janapadodvamsa. Prag Utpatti of Vyadhi. Both references are same. It is in Sandhi Kala of Kruta and Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga. So minimum 20 lakh years happen. It is not merely 5,000. Why 5,000 years have this Gadit is there? Because of European historians. The Europeans who wrote the history of India, they just keep in mind that before the Yeshu Christa, nothing is there, nothing was there. And then they write the history of Ayurveda, India, according to that basic principle. But only Max Muller has denied that. And now the Arya theory is denied, the Darwin theory is denied, because with them, we know we didn't do anything. Just go through and search that. So minimum 20 lakh years happen, and that reference is in Charak Samhita. So we have to think over it again and again. And there is Sutra, chapter Charak Samhita number 1, Adhyay, Sutra number 27. This is not time to describe it, but just go through it. They said that all the vidhis which is described in this Samhita are created by Maharshis who went to the Indra. From Brahma to Indra, what knowledge is transferred? Only basic 6 bhavas. Samanyamcha, Visheshamcha, Gunam, Dravyani, Karmacha, Samavayamcha. That only teach. If I visit to Modi ji and ask him, please teach me about Yoga Shastra, you have many siddhis, please teach me. He doesn't have any time to teach me in detail, no? Because right now he's working as a prime minister. So he will give me only essence, which is most important. So Indra was a king. He was at that time of prime minister. That Indra is what kind of, it is a title. It is not a one person. It is a title. And that Ayurvedic Indra, his name is Purandara. This prime minister can be changed, but prime minister title is there. That is Indra. So he doesn't have any time. So Charak said, Padahi alpaihi matim vipulam buddhaya. He doesn't explain whole Ayurveda to Bharadwaj. He give only Samanyamcha, Visheshamcha, Gunam, Dravyani, Karamacha, Samavaya. That's it. Now explain, elaborate it. And all the vidhis describe Maithuna vidhi, Madhyapan vidhi, Dinacharya vidhi, Rutucharya vidhi, Vyadhi vidhi, Nidra vidhi are all researched and elaborated by these Maharshis. It is described in Charak itself. And how they explain, how they elaborate? With the help of Pramana. Jnana Chakshushaha. The sutra is there. I will, if possible, I will show the sutra. What is Maharshi? If Rushi, I pronounce word Rushi, you will imagine a person who is very angry, having Kamandalu, Khadava, Jata, Rudraksha, and every time giving shrap to anyone. Aapka markat ho, aapki dagad, aapka patthar ho, aapka ye ho. No. The kosha meaning, the meaning of Rushi Pada is a scientist. Just go through any kosh of Sanskrit. So Maharshi, major, bade scientists, they have created these vidhis. So Ayurveda, just like Sir says, It is not mythology, it is happened. But he said that history is very important and we have to visit our historical places. I have collected some places of Haryana. I just visited all the places. How many places related to Ayurveda in only Haryana? More than 150. If you are in Tamil Nadu, try to collect places in Tamil Nadu which is related to Ayurvedic history. Collect it, send it to me. We will publish it with your name. I am doing this because this is my passion. So history is not just 25 marks. No. And if a person forgets his history, he will repeat the same mistakes again and again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We came to know more things about history.
1 minute. A simple Google search will tell you, right? How many years ago humans appeared, at least in India. It doesn't go beyond 70,000 or 80,000 years ago. So that is, saying that it is 20 lakhs years ago, no, all that is, it doesn't make sense. We should be realistic. We should be very realistic.
I wanted to just add to the history of Ayurveda conversation. I was hoping that you would talk about astronomy. Many of you have heard of the name Nilesh Oak. So if you haven't, please go to YouTube and watch. One of the things he is trying to contribute is the sciences which are not internal references within the text, because sometimes people are questioning those and calling that impossible. But he has looked at astronomy data and archaeology data. And we all know that the Ramayana was taught by the Christians, that it was just, 2000, 3000 BCE. But by looking at the Ramayana itself, they found that it's, I think, 12,209 BCE. And we all know that in Ramayana, you see that Hanuman goes and what does he bring for Lakshman? Sanjeevani, right? So when they say, how old is Dravyaguna? Oh, it's only 3,000 years old. It existed at the time that Hanuman was bringing, right? So we know that it's at least 12,000 BCE. So that's 14,000 years ago. Such kind of, we can say, evidence. Some will say, no, Hanuman never existed. No, Ram never existed. But for people like Nilesh Oak who have dated the Ramayana back to that date, when I look at the textbooks of history of Ayurveda and they don't have the logic by which the dates can be created or understood. For example, there's a big debate about when Charak existed, right? So we've all read about this. We need to look at some of those other sciences as ways of rebutting, because astronomical and archaeologic data are very real. I know that Ajayan sir, I don't know if he's still here, they go on tours and they were in, was it Sri Sailam, right? That they were there. And they found things that we don't want the modern people to find, but the caves that are there, if you look at some of, they've actually carbon dated some of them, they go back to 30,000 years ago, that there are kalvas. So these data are being excavated, as was mentioned. And if you don't believe archaeologic data, then what do you believe? Because that is considered the Western standard. And then the people, as you mentioned, because of European domination, they really don't want us to find the same archaeologic data that is, in India. And I think it's very important for Ayurvedic people to get to know some of those and to cite them until those history books. Maybe someone can write a history book. We don't wish to have another leg injury, but the fact that you use the time to excavate these data is so important, that we take these different sciences and put them together. I just wanted to contribute that about the Ramayana.
Yeah, so we just take one comment and then we'll wind up because we have to proceed for dinner.
If you are interested in these things, just go through videos of Nilesh Oak. He's from America and from India, but right now he's America, living in America. But such beautiful videos with scientific evidences and mathematics. Yes, So just go through the Nilesh Sattology naam, Sattalogy name, channel name, and just go through it. It is in English language and very interesting.
So as we are winding up this session, I was very much eager to, we were expecting a lot of queries from the student sides. So this is where we, you people, you students, you are lacking here. So this should be your key mantra. Keep yourself sensitized about Ministry of Ayush initiative, Ayush portal. There are so many schemes coming out. So how many UG scholars are here? How many UG scholars and how many PG scholars are here? Any PG scholar? No, only 2, 3. So are you aware about an PG Star program? You are aware. That's good. And Spark project? So you are aware. I think Dr. Skandesh is here only. He is the core member of that, activity. So at least publish one research paper per year. Okay, then only you'll be, able to know about the procedures, different, you'll search about some data and everything. So the quest must be there. You are not coming up. I'm here just because of, I was expecting a lot of queries from you, student side. We are all we are discussing here in between us only. So please try to interact with your mentors as well as during your classroom teachings, right? Thank you.
One last comment. A good scientific researcher, worker in science would always prefer publishing with good journals instead of opening a YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we'll end the session now as we are. One more thing. Yes.
This is about the students. I'm the youngest student here. I just passed out in 2018. And I will tell you that I used to ask a lot of questions because I was trained in the USA. And in USA, you will fail if you don't participate. So I used to ask questions. And what I was told is that the reason that I had such infamous problems that many people have heard of is because I asked questions. So I understand that you are taught. How many of you know that you want to stay quiet because you'll get into trouble? Nobody? Okay, most of them know, most of you know that you are not participating, not because you're hungry, but because you know that someone is in the room that's going to judge you. And we are here as the resource. We're not grading you, we are here to openly answer your questions. If you don't take that courage, as a person that is trying to propagate Ayurveda globally, people always ask me, well, why don't the Vaidyas speak up? The reason Vaidyas don't speak up is because they're not articulate. And the reason they're not articulate is because they don't speak up in crowds like this, where we can actually help you and converse with you. And if you don't learn to be articulate, then when you get on a stage, you can't think what's called on your feet. And when you get into international forums, you won't be able to speak. So it's really important that you ask questions, take the courage. You might feel like you're going to die because you're so nervous. We were all like that when we started. Please ask questions to us. It'll make the next 2 days much richer. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Great knowledge comes when great people come together. It was a wonderful satsang session. This marked the elucidated meaning. A lot more information and facts, advances will be coming to us in next 2 days. Thank you for the wonderful evening, ma'am.
Thank you all the panelists over here. Thank you Pooja Sabharwal ma'am, Prasad sir, Kishor Patwardhan sir, Baswati Bhattacharya ma'am, and Abhijeet Saraf ji, and Preeti ma'am, and also Roshni here for conducting this wonderful session over here. And thank you everyone for your patient listening till now. Now we are winding up the session. Tomorrow at 5 a.m. we'll have Dhanvantari Homam. At 6:30 a.m. we'll have Ashtanga Hridayam Swadhyayana by Prasad sir. At 7:30 a.m. we'll have breakfast, and 8:30 a.m. we'll have a campus tour. So we have to assemble at the assemble point near the food court area. And 9:30 we'll have session 1, which is Ayurveda only Yukti Vyabhasra Chikitsa. Thank you, everyone.